Why, hello, and welcome to another weekly edition of Happy Hour with the Lincoln. This is where week by week I will, who knows? Who knows what I'm going to do? Are we going to answer questions? Are we going to rant about stock topics? Or am I just going to get senseless and crazy? Who knows? But whatever it is, we're going to talk about the most important things that every trader needs to be successful, sharing with you the very best things that I've learned over 2 decades of trading. Now, speaking of trading, my friends, if you need help with that, take a moment, visit this link. You can trade live with us each day in our room. For those that can't commit full-time to a room, those who need knowledge and just want some extras on the side, I talked about it last week in detail. Make sure you check out our new room with StockTwits. It's a pretty interesting thing, and I think most of you are going to like it. So today, I got something really good I'm going to talk about. I think you guys are going to like this question. There's only going to be one, because I think it's going to take most of the allotted time that I have. Not that there's necessarily a allotted amount of time, but we know we all have some attention deficit disorders in some format or the other. That's just the way we roll. So I want to keep it a little short. I want to keep it short, but I want to deliver the meat. So let's talk about it. Here is today's question. What is the one thing about day trading that not many people know? Doug, what would you say is the one thing most traders do not know about? I know you have talked about some of these in one of your whiteboards, but I was wanting to know if you could only pick one thing that a rookie like me should look out for. What is that one thing? Thanks again for all the whiteboards and happy hours. They keep me on the straight and narrow. Well, my good friend, let me say this. You know, and I know you guys know, it is almost impossible for me to just narrow it down to just one thing that people don't know about trading. I mean, there couldn't be a more misunderstood business in this world. I mean, think about this. Just think about it. Name me one stock market movie out there where the lead character or the people that are doing the stocks that are not, snorting coke, driving fast cars, throwing money around, making it rain, spending it on hookers. It's all about hookers, drugs, and gambling. They give us this perception like we're just loose cannon, crazy gambling, coke snorting, hooker finding people, and that's all we do is run around. No, that's not it. Which is strange because like one of the most successful traders and investors of all time is Warren Buffett, and here's a guy worth billions, and he doesn't even have like a Gucci belt or anything. It was like Walmart suits or something. I mean, we could start there, but let me try to do you one better. Let me try to narrow it down to one thing. Now, when I say one thing, I want to take it from this perspective. Let's say I go out into the driveway and there's a DeLorean time machine. I can plug that back in and I can go back and visit little Doug trading in his bike store in 1999. And I can go back for like 1 minute and I can run in there and I would just grab him by the shoulders and go, dude, don't do this, or you need to do this. What would that one thing be? Let's talk about that. And I wouldn't say it's something that you wouldn't do. I would say this. This is one thing that people don't know about trading, and because it is one of the most misconceptioned type of businesses, and we've talked about that before. But I would think that it would come down to me at people not really understanding what exactly is required of you. When I say required, I mean mental energy. The emotional energy that you will spend, that you will exhaust yourself through, that is what people just do not know about trading. That would be my one thing. Now, again, there's a lot of things people don't know about trading, like we don't snort coke. I do not take my $100 bills and throw them up in the air. I don't have hooker parties, Lamborghinis. I don't do all of that kind of Wolf on Wall Street crap. I don't do that. I live a pretty modest lifestyle, I think. But anyway, I would say if I could go back and talk to myself, that is the one thing that people don't know. And I'll do you one better. I'm going to say one is that mental energy, but there's also, let's say it's 1.5 things. And that would be because the mental energy, what creates such mental energy and mental stresses for a trader is the fact that the market itself never really uses logic. Never does the market seem like it's interested in using anything that's logical. So you may look at a company and you say, damn, Walmart makes a ton of money. I'm in Costco. They make a ton of money. They report earnings and it's like, Jesus, man, this place makes billions. They're rich. Yeah, the CEOs are rich. But that doesn't mean the stock price goes any higher, right? You don't see the stock price. Oh, sometimes it does, of course, but you see things on several occasions where a company will beat earnings and the stock price will go down. Sometimes they'll miss earnings. They don't make any money at all and the stock keeps going up like a Tesla. I mean, the market never really loses logic. So let me give you 1.5 here. Number one would always be the amount of mental energy and the amount of emotional energy that you will spend as a trader. That's what you are going to spend the most of your time dealing with. It's one thing that you can turn around and read a book about how to trade or how to read a candlestick chart. Or everybody's got a YouTube video, me included, drawing lines, support and resistance, all that good stuff. Yes, those things can work, but they're not guarantees. Stocks don't always bounce off of support. Stocks don't always reject off of resistance. Sometimes things go up way too damn much and you just can't believe it. Sometimes they go down way too long and too much and you just can't believe it. So dealing with that mental energy, expending that mental energy, dealing with that emotional stress will be the single underestimated, non-aware thing that someone has to deal with. And this, guys, is something that you just have to learn on your own. This is why you will need the screen time. This is why trading itself, when you say you're not going to make $1 million overnight, you're not going to buy a DVD or attend a weekend course and fix that. You will need to expose yourself every day to the computer to condition your mind. And it's funny because a lot of things that people think would be beneficial towards stock trading, like, if you're really good with numbers and math, a lot of people come in and say, I got to be good with numbers and math to be successful. I got to, maybe if I have an accounting degree and I'm good with reading balance sheet, that's going to make me so smart. I mean, you guys know people like that you think are smart, and you may have already turned to them for financial advice. But just because you possess a degree from Harvard, just because you have an accounting degree, or you're a doctor, or you're a lawyer, or a sophisticated rocket scientist, or something that's a sophisticated career, doesn't mean that those skill sets will translate into trading. In fact, I think, based on the people that I have worked with, trained, and the traders that most likely, I'm not dogging the people. If you got intelligence like that, great. You can see that I don't. But it seems to me that if you had a skill set to have, it would be, I would rather take the hungry, aggressive, entrepreneurial, spirited person that has the ability to think quickly on their feet, a person that learns on the job. If you're somebody like that, those skill sets to me are far more superior than book smart. So to me, being street smart, gut smart, gritty, determined is far more a valuable resource when it comes to it being a trader than book smarts. Because again, we're training ourselves. That's what this topic is. It's about the emotional conditioning. And again, I don't want it to make it look like it's a negative, because if you want to come into the business, one of the things I've said in many of my talks is it helps to come in under the right pretenses. Especially in this age of social media, you are led into this business by most intents and purposes the wrong way. You are sold easy because easy sells. You are told if you attend a course that you can be a poor old school teacher making $3 and then next year you're going to be a millionaire, or you can be a total reject in life and you can turn it around. Yes, of course you can do that. It's highly unlikely it happens in a short amount of time. But I want you to understand that the journey that lies ahead, if you're not completely mentally ready for it, then most likely you're going to fail. And that's what my job is, to tell you straight up exactly how it goes. That way you can prepare for it, right? We talked about that last week. It's somewhat that giving up a couple of years here for the bigger picture isn't that big of a deal. So that's kind of what you're mentally conditioning yourself for, is to handle the stresses that it takes to be a trader. You got a lot of things you've got to process in your mind. You've got a lot of stocks that you're looking at. You've got all kinds of intricate market moves. You've got fake outs and shakeouts, and you're running scanners. You're looking for ideas. You feel there's pressure on you to make money. I mean, a lot of decision making and split decision making has to go through your head on a daily basis, several thousands upon thousands of times. And you have to condition yourself for it. And again, don't look at that as a negative. I mean, if you want to kind of put it in maybe to another analogy, would be something like a marathon runner, right? You see one of these super fast Ethiopians that can just knock out like 25 miles and like, what do they do, like 2 hours or some crazy stuff like that. And it looks like they're just cruising, like they're not tired. Yeah, they are tired, right? You know, they get tired after a mile too, but what they're tired is and how they're mentally conditioned because they run all the time is different than our tired. Now, of course, we're not in that kind of physical shape, but I think you understand it's not just training yourself physically to handle a 25, 26 mile run. It's also conditioning yourself mentally to block out things like my ankle hurts, my toes hurt, my feet hurts, my knee hurts, my hip hurts, my butt hurts, my back hurts, I got sweat dripping in my eye, my sweat burns, that kind of stuff. You got to block all that noise out. So us as traders, we have to do that same thing. You have to block all that noise out, which we talked about too. CNBC, senseless tweets. You got to keep your decision making down to a certain minimum or a very strict process with that. Those are the things that are going to relate to success. That, simply put, it's not a negative. That's just the thing that you have to do. So let me say this in closing, my friends. What would be that one thing I would tell little Dougie in his bike store getting smoked on Wireless Facilities Inc.? What would I tell that dude? You got to prepare yourself for this mentally. You do. It's just something that you can't explain to someone. I mean, if you don't believe me, just tell somebody you're a trader. If you guys have traded, just what is it like when you tell somebody what you do for a living? I day trade. They're like, what are you, a degenerate, gambling, crackhead, whore person? What are you? You know, they get total misconception about what we do. But again, it's not a negative. You're just trying to condition yourself to participate this in the long haul. That's what it is. You know, like if you watch a TV show about somebody climbing Mount Everest, they do their best to show you like, oh, it's ice cold up here. You see their beards or their eyelashes are like practically shut from ice. You know, they're spitting up blood because of the high altitude. They need oxygen to survive. People die on the mountain, but you're watching it on TV. You can sympathize and empathize with them, but you don't know exactly how intense that is unless you're standing on that freaking mountain and you're like, shit, this is intense. Words just can't describe. And that's what it is with trading. Words just can't describe. It's something that you have to experience, and you will need the screen time like every trader ever in the history of this world has had to have in order to be successful. And of course, the next thing, let me give you the one half, is part of that stress comes from the market's inability to deliver logic. What should happen in most cases doesn't always happen. A lot of traders will often tell you that anytime you come up with an idea that looks like a slam dunk, that's bad. Something doesn't sound right. So, you know, market's always really clever with that kind of stuff. So in closing, guys, that's my thing. The number one, if there can just be one, it will be that people just don't know how much mental and emotional stress you will be under, how much you will have to condition yourself with, how you will be tested and frustrated, and how it will work, every single one of those emotions. But if you can deal with that, if you can get your tolerance levels up, if you can learn to accept what this has to offer, this whole new world will open up to you. A world you probably don't know how good it really could be, right? So anyway, let's kind of end it right there, my good friends. As always, you know where I'm at. I do hope whatever knowledge I may have sprinkled upon you leads you to higher profits as Monday starts. Again, cheers.